I was in two minds about making this video, but I thought, you know what? It might help one of you guys. And that is good enough for me. If it can help you, then that is good. And if you want to help me, head over to faddyhussein.com. Now, of course, get one of these hydro flasks or get my voodoo floss band. And if you want coaching, link is in the description. Anyway, we'll begin. And also subscribe. Right, so this video, I don't know what it's titled yet, but I had a very, how can I say, eventful start to the new year, if you want to call it that. Maybe that word should be used for something else, but it has not been short of surprises. And, well, I'm just going to explain, and then you can make your own judgment on how you feel about it. So it started off December 31st. I got a text message off a friend of mine saying that a mutual friend's nephew had been passed away, which is very, very sad because anytime somebody dies who is younger, it's always very sad. Because it's not the natural order of life. The natural order of life is if you want to go and talk about life, the elders die. It's still sad. There's a little bit of heartache involved, depending on what that person was to you. But you still, at the end of the funeral, sit there and think, how old was this guy? Oh, he was 70, he was 80, he was 90. Okay, he had a decent innings. You always expect, always think about what this person did in life. And it's always as if, what did he achieve in life? And then based off the back of that, we would always say that whether this was a good innings or, at least he did this, or at least he traveled here, or at least he was a nice guy. All these things get said about someone who's at least over the age of 70. But when somebody dies who's in the 20, it's hard to take. It's a bit gut-wrenching. It's one of those things where you think, well, this guy, when I was 20, I don't know much about the world when I was 20. We think if you guys are 20 and you're watching this, you might think you have it figured out. You might think you know a lot about the world, but the reality is when you're 20 years old, you don't know dick. And you've got so much life to live, so much places to go, to visit, experiences to have, to get married, to fall out with people, to get divorced, to open businesses, to take risks, to travel the world and meet other people and cultures and share stories and make moments, fall in love, fall out of love. There's so many things. Life has many twists and turns. And when you're young, obviously you don't get to experience that. So when someone young passes away, it's very hard for everybody, especially the father. Because no father should ever have to bury his own son. That is one of the hardest things. I can't think of anything worse for a father. Like a father myself, I have a daughter. I couldn't think of anything worse than that. Like that is the worst thing you could ever do. Or even have to do, especially when it comes to your own children, having to bury them. I always, I pray and I hope that my daughter buries me and not the other way around. That's just the natural order of life. So when someone dies young, it's a bit of an eye-opener. And I always think about death every single day without a doubt. I wake up in the morning, I use this little tool, which I don't know whether I've mentioned here before, have I or haven't? I'll explain. When I feel a little bit lazy or a little bit shit and I'm in bed, I will say to myself, you're going to die. I don't know where I heard it from. I definitely didn't make it up, but I heard it somewhere. You're going to die. And I only say that 2 or 3 times in my head every single morning. And do you know what I do? I jump out of bed. Jump out of bed and get on with my day. Because anytime I'm even thinking about procrastinating, if I'm even thinking about doing something a bit uncomfortable, I think I'm going to let myself down. I'm going to let my bloodline down. I'm going to let my generations down if I don't get up and do something today. So I think about death a lot, every single day. Anyway, 1st of January comes, it was the day of the funeral. So got the message on 31st of December, 1st of Jan, funeral. Got up, wasn't much to do. It was a Monday morning, as you guys know, everywhere in the world, it was Monday. I did some cardio, as I always do, and made my way over to the funeral, and it was a nice funeral. It was a good funeral. And I'm not going to say too much about the funeral, but it is what it is. And I was studying with a friend of mine. We catch up every so often. This particular friend, and we always catch up. And we was together previously, a couple of weeks before that as well, and we were just talking. Anyway, I'll explain why I mentioned this friend in a moment. And he went to the graveyard, and burials are one of the hardest things to see, especially when you look at the family. And I think you should definitely go, because if you ever get an opportunity to go to a funeral, especially for someone who's close to you, definitely go. Do not be shy of it. And it's always good to see the family in grief. Not a good thing, but you should see a family in grief. And it's interesting for me to observe families in grief, what they're doing. And in this particular case, the father he held it together, bro. You know, pat on the back to him. You know, it was amazing. One of the hardest things, like unimaginable pain, like unimaginable heartache. But it's life. Not the natural order of life, but it's still life. Accidents can happen, mishaps can happen, whatever it was, it happened. Few short days after, 3 days, like literally 3 days later, I get a call from my mom. And there was a close family friend who was let's just say, if you guys are Muslim out there, you'll understand when I say a pillar of the community, a pillar of the mosque community. And we're a very small mosque, very small community. I was very sad to see or hear about this person passing away. So I said, okay, what's the situation? And this was in the evening time. And they said, oh, all the family's meeting. If you're a Muslim, you'll understand. They sit at the mosque for 1 or 2 days. It's I wouldn't call it like a mourning process, but mainly like for people to come and share condolences. Let's just say that, you know, rather than coming to someone's house and blocking it out, they just go to the mosque, and it's just what Muslims do. So I went to the mosque, obviously, and I was sat down, and I see my friend again from 2 days earlier, and we was like, what the hell? We the last time we met was at a funeral, and we're at a funeral again. Not a funeral, but this was the day before the actual funeral. It was the night of the death, but the day before. And we were just talking about, you know, what a wake-up call to the new. If you ever need a wake-up call, like if I've ever needed it, not that I did. If I ever needed a wake-up call, it was 2024, because 1st of January, straight away, boom, there you go, 20-year-old dead. Now, my dad's friend, someone who I've known all my life as well, like as a young child. And this guy was my dad's age, literally same age as my dad. And as a young child, I've grown up and I've seen this individual, just gentleman, beautiful guy, nice guy, one of the nicest guys. And I'll just talk about that in a minute. Where when you go to the mosque and you speak to people, especially when someone's passed away, this is the thing when you see the other opposite spectrum to this person didn't live a life, and now all of a sudden I'm going to a funeral of someone who's 50 years senior to the child that died 2-3 days before. And everyone's sharing the stories. He's a nice guy. He used to do this. I remember when he did this. I remember when he did that. You know, and for us as a community, it was a massive loss. But that's not what this video is about. So what happened to me was, I was at the mosque, and there was a few lads, and we were just congregating. We were just stood together. And one of the guys who was kind of doing all the arrangements for the body to be released and stuff like that just asked me, do you want to do ghusl? Now, ghusl, if you're not Muslim or you don't understand Arabic or Urdu, it's basically washing the body. But in this instance, the dead. And I don't know what Christians do, to be honest with you. I don't know whether the hospital takes care of it. I don't know what the coroners do. I don't know whether you even wash the body. I don't know how you guys do it. So I can't comment on that. But as Muslims, we try to wash the body as soon as. Now, I have previously, a year and a half ago, again, this is mumble jumble, but we'll get to the point in a minute. Someone else passed away about a year and a half ago. And I just happened to be in the village at that time. And I never stay over in the village. Never ever stay in the village. Just happened to be there at that time. And again, this was a relative. He passed away and they did the ghusl. I mean, this is the first time in my life I've ever seen it. And I'm not going to describe it because you shouldn't describe it. I'm just telling you, I saw it. And I was stood there whilst it was happening. And it is an eye-opener. And I said to myself, do you know what? If I ever get a chance, or if I ever get called upon to do this, I will say yes. So now we fast forward to a couple of days ago. I was stood there in a group of guys, and someone who was sorting everything out, the mediator, let's just say, said, do you want to do it? Like a few guys. And I said, yes. Snap reaction. And everybody looked. I was like, what the hell? Are you sure? They almost thought I was joking. I'm like, no, I'll do it. And because what people don't understand is, I didn't choose to do it. I got chosen to do that. Now, I know many people won't understand that. Some of you will, some of you won't. It's okay though. If you don't, I'm not here to explain it to you guys. It's just the way it works in life sometimes. Sometimes you have a choice to do something, and sometimes you get chosen. Even though he asked me, first of all, this is not something that you get asked a lot in your life. Think about it if you guys are out there. And comment down below, in fact. How many times have you been asked to wash the dead? How many times it happened to you? Because it's happened to me once the other day. And I said yes straight away. I don't know the reason. Like I said, I didn't choose. I got chosen to do it. I'm very fortunate to do it. Now, many people would look at that and think, wow, that's a tough job to do. And let me tell you, without saying too much about it, it is a very tough job to do. It's not easy. But this isn't a pat on the back for me. This is a video to say that if you were ever in that position and you see something that's hard, go towards it. See, all my life I've been preparing myself, not for that particular moment, but I've been preparing myself for hardships. So when actual hard moments come to me, I'm prepared for them. And I said a year and a half ago, when I stood over and watched this gussel taking place, a year and a half ago, almost 2 years ago, I saw what happened, and a few of the family members, they just wasn't able to do it because they was very emotional. I'm not going to say too much about it. And I thought, wow, this is a powerful thing. If it ever happens to me, I need to be prepared. You don't know how to do any of these things. You know, most people are like, do you know how to do it? Do you know what to do? I'm like, no. Teach me. Need to be prepared, need to learn. It's a tough job. It's not like I'm all of a sudden going to sign myself up for every single one. It's not about that. Like I said, I got chosen. And I took it as a very fortunate thing to have experienced for me. Like, it was a big thing for me to experience. And I know I want to share with you guys, because the reason, or the message I want to share with you guys is, when it comes to doing the hard stuff, there's many things that we don't like, that we can do. And we know the end result from it. We go to the gym, we train hard. Even when it's cold, even when it's extreme temperatures, we go, we do it. We're tired, we do it. We're injured, we do it. We don't want to eat a particular way, but we're disciplined. We do it. Why? Because we know we're not supposed to be soft and give in to these shitty desires. We're there to have some purpose, to mean something, to teach something, to pass on something, to create something, to become something. And you only become something when you go through these hardships. And yes, a part of me changed at that particular time. And you're not going to have days every single day where you grow so much. But if you grow just a little bit every day, and I always talk about physical hardships, because physical hardships are some things that make you grow that's controlled. You go to the gym every single day. You get a little bit stronger. Add a little bit more muscle. You learn a little bit more discipline. You take things to the next level. You start lifting a little bit more heavier weights. These are disciplines that we give ourselves to do so that we can be prepared for real hardships later on down the line. And they might never come. But it's preparing ourselves mentally as well. And if you're prepared mentally, then when these things do come up to you, these opportunities, or when you do get chosen from a higher power, from a higher being, whatever you believe in, I believe in it. I was chosen to do it. I didn't choose to do it. Definitely didn't choose to do it. People might believe that. My family might believe that. Friends might believe that. Other people might believe that, But I didn't. And everybody who was there in that room with me got chosen to do it. And I'm not going to sit here and say by who and by what. You guys figure that out yourself. But it's a very powerful thing. That was the start to my new year. So happy new year to me. And that's just the natural order of life. Now, for me, experiencing that so early in the new year, not that I'm a New Year's resolution kind of guy, but it also gives you a kick up the arse to say, do you know what? Don't waste time. Because we don't have a lot of time. That's the reality. We don't have much time. If you're falling out with someone, go make up with them. You've got a loved one, you've got family members, you've got this, whatever it is. Go out there, do what you need to do, hurry the hell up. Anyway, hopefully this video didn't go on too long. And the take-home message from this is, when situations like this in your life happen, if you've done the groundwork, if you've done the homework, and you've done everything leading up to that situation, when you are in that situation, you will know what to do. You will be prepared for that moment. You might never ever need to prepare in that moment. Like there's certain things that you're prepping for. Let's say you have a fight coming up and you learn all the things to do in the fight. How to box, how to kick, how to grapple, how to do everything. So you know all the disciplines there. But there's going to be certain moments in that fight, in the fight of life I'm talking about here, where you haven't trained for that particular thing, but everything else that you've trained for, if you accumulate all that together, is now giving you the answer for this particular task. But if you never did all of those, you wouldn't know how to act moving forward. So, sorry for the mumble jumble video, but that was the start of my 2024. So you know, and I want you guys to take home this message as well. First week might have been shit. It doesn't matter. Even if you're having a shit second week, it doesn't matter. Start now. Move forward. Prepare yourself for these meaningful things in life. All this other shit that you guys are chasing towards, money, cars, women, none of this matters. Death is coming to every single one. Guarantee I can give every single person is you're going to die. I can sit here with full confidence and say, you and every single person you know is going to die. I can't say that about anything else. I literally can't. So get prepared for death. Death is important. Speak about death. Think about death. Know it's coming. Don't be afraid of it. Know it's coming. Be afraid of it in the sense where you should think that if I died today, am I really going to leave an imprint behind? Have I really accomplished everything? Have I really made the people around me happy? Have I been there for my loved ones? Have I cared enough for people that cared for me? You know, these are the questions you need to ask yourself. Anyway, hopefully I didn't ramble on too long. The video wasn't too long. Comment down below if you got some value from this. Like, and please subscribe.